A pair of Harvard scientists say a massive, fast-moving visitor to our solar system may have been a probe sent by an advanced alien civilization.
It's an alien spacecraft.
On October 19th, 2017, an astronomer named Robert Weirich was doing what he did every day, sifting through telescope data.
But on October 19th, 2017, Pan-STARRS spotted an object moving rapidly between the stars. And this time, the usual follow-up measurements of position and speed showed something completely different.
But on this day, he found something that would stop him in his tracks. An object, moving through our solar system at a blistering 59,000 miles per hour, was following a path that made one thing astonishingly clear: it wasn't from around here.
All of a sudden, there was this tiny little visitor just screaming through the solar system. It was going about 200,000 miles an hour.
It became very clear that, yeah, this was not some solar system object falling from a long way away.
It was the very first object that we'd ever discovered that had originated outside the solar system.
This thing came from interstellar space into our solar system, and the main question is, what could it be?
Its speed was far too great for it to be captured by our sun's gravity. This was a visitor from the vast, dark expanse between the stars. What the world's astronomers would soon encounter was an object that defied every category we had. It was roughly the size of a football field, but its shape was unlike any asteroid or comet ever recorded. Initial observations suggested it was incredibly elongated, a cigar shape perhaps 1,300 feet long but only 130 feet wide.
It's almost sort of shaped like a cigar. It's 10 times longer than it is wide.
Later analysis from scientists at McMaster University refined this, proposing a flatter, more pancake-like object. But regardless of whether it was a cigar or a pancake, its form was bizarre for a natural space rock. Even stranger, as it swung by our sun, it left no trace. Comets, when they get close to a star, heat up and spew a trail of gas and dust. Oumuamua left nothing. No gas, no dust, no tail. It broke all the rules. This interstellar traveler was given the Hawaiian name Oumuamua, meaning a scout or messenger that arrives first from afar. The name would prove to be eerily fitting, because the biggest shock was yet to come. After Oumuamua passed perilously close to the sun, closer even than Mercury's orbit, it did something that seemed impossible. It sped up. Dramatically. It was as if some unseen engine had fired, giving it a massive push and accelerating it to an incredible 194,500 miles per hour.
So we think the reason is that it's outgassing.
In other words, it was emitting a little bit of gas, and that was acting as a little bit of a rocket motor push on it.
It's kind of like a little jet engine on the surface. It just gives it a little thrust over time.
This single act, acceleration without any visible reason, is what truly baffled scientists and opened the door to a breathtaking possibility. What if this wasn't just a rock? What if humanity had just been visited by a piece of extraterrestrial technology? The idea that Oumuamua was an alien spacecraft is the kind of theory that sounds like pure science fiction. But it was proposed seriously in 2021 by Avi Loeb, the chair of Harvard University's astronomy department, and his colleague Shmuel Bialy. They argued that Oumuamua's strange behavior was too unusual to ignore. Their primary focus was that mysterious acceleration. The sun's gravity would have given it a push, but calculations showed the boost it received was far stronger than what gravity alone could provide. So, Loeb and Bialy offered a radical explanation: light sail technology. A light sail is a real concept. It's a vast, ultra-thin sheet that can be propelled through space by the pressure of sunlight itself. Streams of photons, though individually tiny, exert a constant force on the sail, accelerating a craft without any need for fuel. Japan's Ikaros probe successfully used a solar sail to travel toward Venus back in 2010. For this to work for Oumuamua, they calculated its sail would need to be incredibly thin, between 0.3 and 0.9 millimeters, about the thickness of a human hair. An object over 300 feet long but less than a millimeter thick sounds fantastical, but their calculations showed that such a craft could survive an interstellar journey of at least 16,000 light-years. If it was a probe, it was almost certainly an unmanned one. Given its speed, a trip from even the nearest star, Proxima Centauri, would have taken it over 40,000 years, a journey impossible for living organisms as we know them. Loeb and Bialy don't claim Oumuamua was definitively a spacecraft, but they believe the possibility is strong enough that it shouldn't be dismissed. Of course, the scientific community is far from united on this. Many researchers believe there are natural explanations for Oumuamua's strangeness. Scientists Alan Jackson and Steve Desch proposed that Oumuamua might be a fragment of frozen nitrogen, knocked loose from a distant, Pluto-like planet. As this nitrogen iceberg got close to our sun, the nitrogen would have vaporized, creating an invisible jet propulsion that caused it to accelerate. Another theory, from Jennifer Bergner and Daryl Seligman, suggests Oumuamua was a unique type of comet. On its long journey through space, powerful cosmic rays could have converted much of its water ice into hydrogen molecules, which remain trapped inside. When heated by the sun, this trapped hydrogen would have escaped like powerful, tiny jet streams, giving the object its push without producing a visible, dusty tail. And then there's the simplest explanation, offered by astronomer Karen Meech. Perhaps Oumuamua isn't that unusual at all. The universe is filled with countless objects, and a disc-shaped or cigar-shaped comet with very little dust might be common. We just haven't seen one before because our experience is so limited. So, we are left with a spectrum of possibilities, from a common but unusual comet to a sophisticated piece of alien technology. The problem is, by the time we realized how strange it was, Oumuamua was already speeding away, leaving the solar system behind. Today, it is billions of miles away, completely invisible. Even the Hubble Space Telescope could only track it for a few weeks before it faded into eternal darkness. How can we ever know for sure what it was? What if we tried to catch it? It sounds impossible, but that is the exact goal of a real-world initiative called Project Lyra. Announced just 11 days after Oumuamua's discovery, the project's mission is to determine if we can design a spacecraft to chase down the interstellar object and study it up close. Adam Hibbert, a key engineer on the project, is convinced it can be done. The challenge is speed. To catch up to the fleeing object, a probe would need to travel at incredible velocities. Project Lyra has two main proposals for achieving this. The first is a planetary dance of gravitational assists. The probe would launch from Earth, slingshot around Venus for a speed boost, return to Earth for another gravitational kick, and then fly to Jupiter, where the gas giant's immense gravity would provide the final, powerful hurl needed to send it on its way to Oumuamua. This is a tried-and-true technique, famously used by the Voyager probes in the 1970s. The second plan is far more daring, the solar Oberth maneuver. In this scenario, the probe would dive toward the sun, getting as close as physically possible. There, on the edge of oblivion, it would use the sun's immense gravity for a massive boost while also firing its own engines, allowing it to escape the sun's pull at breathtaking speeds of up to 163,000 miles per hour, fast enough to intercept Oumuamua. Of course, diving toward the sun presents a colossal heat problem. The probe could face temperatures of 1,400 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt metal. However, we have a solution. The Parker Solar Probe, which has already flown through the sun's corona, is protected by a revolutionary carbon foam heat shield. A similar shield is planned for the Project Lyra probe. With a launch window tentatively scheduled between 2030 and 2033, the most realistic plan involving the Venus-Earth-Jupiter assists could see a probe catch up with Oumuamua in the early 2050s. But what if the mission fails? What if it can't slow down in time and just speeds past its target? Adam Hibbert argues that even in that case, the mission wouldn't be a failure. It would be the first spacecraft in history purposefully sent into interstellar space. Unlike the Voyager probes, whose interstellar journey was a lucky accident, this probe would be designed from the ground up to explore the environment beyond our solar system, gathering priceless data that we simply don't have. While we plan to chase the last visitor, the European Space Agency is preparing for the next one. Its Comet Interceptor mission, planned for 2029, will launch a probe to a stable point in space and simply wait. The moment a new interstellar object is detected, the probe will be ready to activate and intercept it, ensuring we don't miss our next chance. The mystery of Oumuamua has forced us to look to the stars. But our own solar system is home to objects that are just as strange, hiding in a vast, icy region beyond Neptune known as the Kuiper Belt. This is the solar system's attic, filled with leftover building blocks from its creation 4.5 billion years ago. And some of these objects are truly bizarre. Take Arrokoth. In 2019, the New Horizons probe flew past it, making it the most distant object humanity has ever examined up close. Shaped like a snowman, Arrokoth is a contact binary, meaning it's made of two separate objects that gently fuse together. They didn't crash violently, they slowly orbited each other until gravity brought them together in a slight collision. This discovery provided a stunning insight into how planetesimals, the seeds of planets, might have formed in the early solar system. Then there's the object 2002 UX-25. It's a fairly large body, about 650 kilometers in diameter, but its density is 18% less than that of water. That means if you could find an ocean big enough, this massive space rock would float. This is a huge puzzle. Normally, the gravity of an object this large would compress its material, leaving no room for such high porosity or internal gaps. Let's move on to Quaoar, a minor planet that may have once hosted an ocean. Scientists have found water ice on its surface, and its past temperature seems to have risen mysteriously. Even more exciting, its bright surface could be evidence of recent cryovolcanoes, volcanoes that erupt not magma, but a slush of water, ice, and ammonia. And consider Haumea, a dwarf planet shaped like a rugby ball. It spins so rapidly, completing a day in just under 4 hours, that the centrifugal force has stretched it into this elongated shape. It also has 2 moons, a ring system, and a mysterious dark red spot on its otherwise icy surface. Each of these objects raises more questions than answers. But perhaps the biggest mystery in our own backyard is one we can't even see. Astronomers have been tracking an object named Sedna, which has one of the most unusual orbits imaginable. It takes 11,000 years to make one full circle, swinging from deep within the solar system out to a distance of 135 billion kilometers. Sedna's bizarre path, along with those of a few other distant objects, strongly suggests that something massive and unseen is pulling on it with its gravity. This is the most compelling evidence for the existence of the hypothetical Planet 9. Thought to be 5 to 6 times the size of Earth, Planet 9 could be a mega-Earth or a mini-Neptune hiding in the darkness. The hunt is on, with scientists pinning their hopes on the new Vera C. Rubin Observatory to finally find this hidden world. From an interstellar messenger that defied explanation, to a floating rock, an egg-shaped planet, and a hidden giant in our own backyard, our universe is constantly reminding us how much we still have to learn. The mysteries are what drive us forward. A new endeavor, the Galileo Project, was launched in 2021 with the specific goal of searching for alien artifacts and bringing rigorous scientific analysis to unexplained phenomena like Oumuamua and UFOs. The chase for the truth about Oumuamua may be expensive, risky, and ambitious. But it's these kinds of bold missions and baffling mysteries that ignite our imagination and push us to explore. So what do you think? What flew past us in 2017? Was it a natural wonder, or our first confirmed encounter with technology from another civilization? And should we spend the resources to chase it down? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.